Hi there, my name is Erik and I play bass, and today I'm just gonna walk you through my pedalboard setup with the Suncoast NanoLab Bass Preamp and the Suncoast LM1 dynamic limiter, just to explain what's going on there, because I got a few questions actually about how I incorporate these two pedals into my rig and how I use them. So the main brains of this operation is of course the neural DSP quad Cortex, which is where a bit of the tone shaping is taking place, where I apply some compression, the EQ, that sort of nice stuff, the signal routing as well. What you're hearing right now is the XLR1 output, which sounds like this, which is essentially a mixed signal that I'm sending straight to the front of house. I'm also running a separate, two outputs, one with distortion to 1 amp and one clean to 1 amp. So there is that. The two uppermost rows here on the quad Cortex are for the precision style pickup, the DiMarzio relentless precision pickup, and we got a few things going there. So here's the clean tone for that one. So the first thing that occurs is an EQ, in which I pretty much shave off everything below 148 Hertz. Here's without that low cut. So it clears things up a wee bit, especially if you got distortion going. Makes it a wee bit less muddy. Then we're going into a fixed loop number 2, which is where the LM1 and the NanoLab Bass Preamp are hooked up. I'm running the NanoLab into the LM1, so I'm using input 1 for a fixed loop number 2. I'll explain why in a second. And so that's the preamp and the limiter going into that. I'm using MIDI out. I'm using a MIDI relay underneath the pedal board to go between distortion off and on, as you can see now on the unit. Distortion is being turned off and on, which is nice. I must say that it's able to do that. Then we're going into a noise gate. Here's without it. So even on the clean channel, there is a bit of hiss going on there. And that's just the way it is. I wouldn't call it a noisy preamp by any stretch of the imagination, but if you can apply a noise reduction, why not do that? So after the noise gate, we're going into a chorus, which is just for the clean. And I'm using that mainly for that type tone, especially with the woofer pickup. Gets really nice and big. And then we're going into an Ampeg SVT, just to give it some, additional goodness, if you will. Here's the distortion channel with it. Here's without it. So that also works, but I kind of like it with it. Just makes it, nastier, if you will. Then I'm going into an IR. It's a 2x15 made by Shiftline. It's an IR by Shiftline. Sorry, I blanked there for a minute. An IR by Shiftline, a 215 Sula. Then we're going into the 1176 compressor. Pretty low ratio and all of that, just to tame the transient a bit. And then I've actually got an EQ afterwards, which is, it looks pretty backwards using that EQ, but it's actually an EQ matching a match of a JBL speaker that John Willis did. I'll have a link down here to his page where I got that EQ curve from. It feels kind of backwards to use an IR and then an EQ, but it works. I really like this tone, so if it's good, it's good. So there is that. Then we got effect loop number 1 here, or the return of effect loop 1 of the Quad Cortex, which is hooked up to the effects loop of channel 1 here on the Suncoast NanoLab, which allows me to do stuff only to the distortion channel. And as of now, I'm just using it to add a bit of extra noise gate, and I'm also inverting the phase as it goes through here, because otherwise you get some phase cancellation issues. I've got some cool stuff going there. So here is what I'm doing to the effects loop number 1 of the NanoLab. So first up, we got the polyoctaver, then we got that going into the vintage chorus, and last but not least, we got the digital delay, and that gives me this totally useless bass tone. That's actually pretty fun. For the neck pickup, it's really, really simple right now. We got the UL compressor, with it, without it. And then I'm going into the Ampeg B15, sorry, yeah, maybe. Really, really straightforward in terms of EQ. And then we're going into an 810, and that is going to XLR 1 and 2. And for the signal down here, which is going to output 4 here on the back, we've got no cabinet going, so it's just the neck pickup. And together. Pretty usable bass tone, if you ask me, or at least for a 3-piece band member situation and a vocalist. Fills out stuff pretty nicely. The 4 switches up here are to control the Keith McMillan 12-step. So they are sending MIDI messages through the relay that is controlling distortion off and on the Suncoast. Using channel 16, I should say. This one reads MIDI CC channel 16 to go between the different patches, and also change the patches in main stage, which is nice. And yeah, Suncoast LM1 glues it all together. Here is without it. And with it. Really nice. I really like the chorus setting here, especially with both pickups engaged. And the clean tone is pretty. Nice as well. So that's how I incorporate the Suncoast NanoLab Bass Preamp into my big setup here. So FX return is what starts this whole operation off here on this middle row here, and FX send is what ends it. And the red one here is FX return, which is hooked up to FX return. But yeah, it kind of turns backwards when you're running loops into loops. It's a loop-de-doop-de-doop. But anyways, really happy with how this sounds. I'm gonna use this setup live in a few weeks with 6 feet deeper. I've been using it in rehearsal and it's been working out great. So yeah, thank you so much for asking me to do this, guys. You know who you are. And my name is Erik and I play bass. And if you enjoy this video, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell. And I'll see you guys and gals and cats and dogs in the next video. Until next time, take care. Bye.